Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the Outlier podcast. Really quick, I just want to thank you guys for all the support. I appreciate all the consistency with the views. A lot of you guys are still watching, going strong, so I want to thank you all for that. But all right, let's get into it. As always, I have my boy Roger or A-Ball with me. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Like you said, thank you for all the support. Also, the very first podcast is almost at 100 views. So, if y'all can do us a favor and go check it out if you haven't already, go check it out. And also make sure you're sharing the podcast with a friend or two to make sure that we get out there. And if you enjoyed the podcast, if it made you laugh, if it informed you, if you found it spectacular in any way, make sure you leave a like and a comment to see what else we can talk about.
Yeah, so the first real quick, I want to talk about the topics we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
The first one is religion. The second one is you are who you surround yourself with. I think we're going to start with that one because I think it ties into the religion aspect of it for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can start on whatever we want. The religion one is gonna take a while, I think. So
Yeah.
if you want, it's up to you. Whatever you want.
And then the third is again, would you rather? So yeah. Uh
Yeah. So by the way, for the would you rather guys, we talked about this in the last podcast. If you want us to do any specific would you rather's, leave that down in the comment section below, and we'll answer your would you rather. So right now we're just making up our own, but we definitely want to like take your consideration. I mean, your would you rather's into consideration. So yeah.
yeah. So the first one I want to talk about is you are who you surround yourself with. And I know you and I were on the phone a little bit ago and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Um so for me, I think it's very obvious. I don't know about for you if it's obvious or not, but you are who you surround yourself with. And I was actually talking to a very close friend of mine, a close person to me, that I kind of called them out on their shit, and I said, "Look, you claim you want to grow, you claim you want to be better, you're trying to be better, and I see it. I see the effort, but basically what I said was, you're only gonna get so far with the people that you have around you because this person hangs out with a lot of people that like to party, drink, do drugs. They're not necessarily the most loyal people. They're just like people that you wouldn't want your kids to hang around with as a parent, which is just a bad influence, and
Low lives.
yeah, low lives basically. In other words, it sucks to say, but it's the truth.
Yeah, bro.
um
You can't sugarcoat shit like that.
Yeah, so this person got very upset with me for a little bit, and then they came around and were like, "You know what? Thank you for telling me. You're right." And I think it's very important to call people out on that, especially if you care about them. If you care about them and you don't want to see them turn into who they hang out with, then you should let them know. I think, regardless of
Yeah,
the consequences.
yeah. I think you need to be very particular the way you call somebody out, though, because I mean, pride and ego, especially if it's a male. I'm not sure if it's a male, but pride and ego is definitely going to get in the way. So you need to, because they need to have enough humility in order to realize, okay, I'm hanging around the wrong crowd. Um, but if you're not sincere about it in some way, shape, or form, or if you don't go about it in the correct way, they're gonna let their pride and ego overcome that, and they're gonna get mad and resentful and whatever. But yeah, dude, this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, your surroundings. And actually, I don't think I even told you this, but at a church one time, I gave a lecture to a bunch of teenagers about their surroundings, and I'm pretty sure everybody's heard this slogan or this saying that everybody says, which is show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Right?
Yeah.
We're a product of our surroundings. You can very well look at somebody and see who they're hanging around with, and you'll see who they will either who they are or who they will become, because what we do is we gather a bunch of characteristics that ultimately build our character. It determines who we are, really. That at the end of the day, that's what ends up happening. And here's the fact of the matter is that in a day and age where life is moving so fast, it's literally slipping through our fingers, staying still and being complacent is falling behind. What you think is oh, I'm comfortable here or I'm complacent here, I'm in a good spot, is actually you falling behind because we're evolving so quickly. By you staying with the same group of friends that are happy with just being complacent, you are not you're not on route to becoming the best possible you that you could possibly be. And having complacent friends is, have you ever heard the story of crabs in a bucket?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so check it out. So there's a bunch of crabs in a bucket, right? And so bucket is a normal little, bucket that you have. And as soon as one crab grabs the top of the bucket and has a glimpse of hope of getting out, all the rest of the crabs latch onto the crabs, kind of like a chain.
Yeah.
And what they do is that they drag each other down instead of helping each other up. And so instinctively these crabs are programmed to with the mindset of either we're all going to get out or none of us are going to get out. Okay? And so that's exactly what having complacent friends does to you. Because the moment that you wanted to do better for yourself, the moment that you have the edge of that bucket, your friends are gonna latch onto you. Let's say you want to stop drinking. They're gonna hit you with a familiar bad habit. Ah, come on, one beer is not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
One party is gonna hurt. One night's not gonna hurt, bro. Just take a shot.
Yeah.
You wanna get healthier. You wanna start working out. You wanna do this. That. Ah, bro, what's what's one gym session gonna do to you? It's not gonna hurt you. What's one cheat day gonna do to you? These are little things that these crabs, figuratively speaking, are doing to latch onto you and bring you back down. Because the truth is that your friends probably don't have enough confidence to overcome their own fears. So when they see you doing better for yourself, they project their own fears onto you. Like, well, I can't really do that. So why does he think he can do that? And
Yeah.
so what they do is they're scared of that progress in you because in reality they might lose you. So it could be a bunch of different things, but I can tell you one thing is that having these people around you is not a good look for you. And I was explaining to Saul is there's another analogy of a apple in a basket. You have a bad fruit in a basket. It doesn't even have to be an apple. You have a bad fruit in a basket. You leave it there long enough, the whole basket gets spoiled quickly. And that's because, again, all these little toxic characteristics that your friends have, if they have them, pass on to you. So it all ties into what I said in the beginning is show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, well, it's not only just your friends, like your family as well. Like I know you talk about you distance yourself from certain people in your family. And you can't always do that, you know. Sometimes you live with these people, so it's very hard to do that.
Oh
Um
yeah.
and when it comes to that, I think you should limit the exposure you have to people like that, as opposed to just getting rid of them completely, because that's not always an option, you know. Just limit your exposure to them, and do the best you can. But to clear up something real quick, not that I I think partying and all that is like an immediate, like, oh no, get away from that person, because everyone goes through that phase, and that's not necessarily something that you should just dismiss something or dismiss someone over. So people go through phases like that, including myself. You've been through that. A lot of
Yeah.
people have. It's normal, right? But when it gets to the point where you've been, or the people you hang around with have been doing that for years now, and it's not a phase, it's just part of their life, it's part of their routine. That's when it becomes dangerous, and you go, you know what, like, I can't be around these people because they've been in this cycle for years, going out drinking, partying, doing drugs. Like, it's not
Yep.
just a phase, it's normal now. It's the new thing to do for them.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that you need to realize that people aren't suppo- people all everybody isn't meant to be around for your whole life. Some people are meant to be in your life for some seasons. So like your party friends, right? They're cool and all when you were in that phase of partying. If you want to do better for yourself, at some point you need to surround yourself with people that you want to be in the future, right? And here's the harsh reality that people can't understand is that the people that you surround yourself, I'm not even gonna say friends anymore because it could be family members. By the way, good job by pointing that out because I was like just tied into friends. But the people that are around you, they're either for you or they're against you. And people have a hard time and they think that's harsh and they try to make exceptions when it comes to friendships or relationships rather. But it doesn't really make sense because I'll put it to you this way. What's the opposite of right? Wrong. What's the opposite of best? Worst, right? What's the opposite of good? Evil. So what's the opposite of someone, whether it be a friend or family member, trying to help you? It's somebody bringing you down. That's the ultimate truth. And especially when it comes to friends, because like you said, when it comes to family members, it's a little bit difficult. Like for instance, if your mom is if your mom's a loving person but she's not very ambitious and you're trying to do something like be a YouTuber and she's like trying to she doesn't know any better, right? Like that's like a tangible thing
Yeah.
that you know what I mean. But for the most part, if you're trying to, and if you're vocal about it, and I tell you, hey, bro, Saul, I really want to lose weight, bro. Like, I'm telling you because I want you to be a positive influence in my life, and I don't want you to instill negative influences in my life because it's going to be difficult for me. I struggle with food, I struggle with nutrition and working out. But you still do it anyways. You neglect the fact that I even said that, and the next day you're like, "Hey, bro, let's go to Wingstop or let's go to In and Out," and
Yeah.
you're forcing this bad influence on me. It's like, bro, you got to cut those people off.
Yeah. I mean, it's very obvious to me, standing from afar and seeing that particular person I was talking about, just like getting into bad habits and stuff, because I felt that I had to step up and say something because I noticed that this person was like calling off of work because they were hungover,
Oh
or
shoot, yeah.
not working out because they were hungover, or um just not doing stuff because they were out partying or doing drugs or whatever the case may be. So I felt like I had to do something. Um, but yeah, man, I encourage you guys to communicate with the people you love to make sure that they're the best people that they can be. But just make sure you communicate in a way where they don't take it the wrong way, because that's very easy to do.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I have family members that think that I'm stuck up. I have family members and friends that think that I think that I'm too good for them, so I don't hang around with them. It's just like no, it's I'm in a position in my life where I've realized that hey, if I want to get to where I want to get to, I need to surround myself with people that are either going to help me get there or who are already there. The more time that I spend with people that are dragging me down, the worse it's going to be for me. And at the end of the goal, if I accomplish what I really do want to accomplish, it's going to benefit everybody. It's not just going to benefit me. It's not going to benefit the people that are around me, but it's also going to benefit the people that I cut off. For instance, like let's say like my I don't know, my uncle, right? If I'm successful in the long run, that doesn't just impact me, that impacts everybody around me. So at the end of the day, you have to sacrifice who you are for who you will become. And if you keep that mindset, it's all going to be worth it at the end.
yeah. Um, well, that's all I got to say about that one. I don't know if you want to get into religion.
I'm down, bro.
All right. Well, first, let me just explain a little bit about how I was raised. I was brought up Catholic, but I was not taught to really follow the Catholic ways, I guess. Like I went to what was it, like, what's that thing called? Church school? I don't know. I went to, like,
Catholic school, yeah.
yeah, well, I went to that for a little bit and didn't take it serious. Um got out of that and then just never went back. And then, just never got into it at all. So I was kind of like free to believe whatever I wanted, even though I did have that Catholic background. My parents are super, not super religious, but they're believers, for sure. They
Yeah.
just don't really impose their opinion on me too much. So I have my own beliefs, and real quick, what I see God as, like, God, because I believe in God. But what I believe God is more the universe and everything, as one. A lot of people imagine God as like a being, right? Would you agree to that?
Yeah. Well, God is he's made up of three things, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, is what Christians believe.
Yeah, so I just see him as like the universe and everything out there, like this everything that is has energy. I think that's God. I think God is like this big um ball of power, I guess, but that's what I see it as. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well, obviously I don't, right? But well, first of all, before getting into this conversation, I would like to say that above anything, I'm a Christian. Uh, that's even includes religion. Religion is in some way skewed, and there's a lot of flaws in religion, and we've seen it across history. And that's because religion is is conducted through man. That is not actually God created, right? Religion is something
Yeah.
that here's what I think that a lot of people get confused because religion does scare a lot of people off. Like I know you've brought it up, and a lot of people could bring it up. We all know those people where they think religion is a cult because they try to control everything you do, or the other way around where it's like somebody goes to church on Sundays but they're a hypocrite on Monday, right? We all hear those stories. Those are things that are commonly brought up when it comes to religion. But what I want to get across here is that religion is just a tool. Like that's all it is. People think that if you're not religious, you won't go to heaven. That is absolutely not true. The only way that you're going to get to heaven, right? And this is speaking through Christianity, is if you have a relationship with God. So this is why I believe in the individual relationship with God, not so much religion and church. Because I've been saying this a lot. I say it on Twitter, and I've been saying it to the people in my inner circle, is that I believe that there's going to be a lot of people in the churches that are not going to make it to heaven. And that's a very bold statement to make because it's like, what? Like, why would you say that? Like, that's not right. It's like they're trying. It's like, are they really? Because there's a lot of bad things going around in some churches and some religion. But, anyways, I believe that religion is a tool, but it can be skewed. So I believe above all, people should really hone in on educating themselves and having an individual relationship with God. And and here's the thing, like you said that you believe God is like a ball of energy is what you explained. That's very interesting because I've had for the past couple of months, I've been coming up with this ideology in my head of like how to explain God to someone who doesn't believe, right? And I believe that I believe that you need to have a moral compass, whatever that is, whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, whatever. Like there's a bunch of different religions out there, but I do believe that you need to have a moral compass because if you do not have a moral compass, that means you're totalitarian. Totalitarian. Do you know what a totalitarian is? A
No.
t- Okay, a totalitarian is basically someone who solely believes on himself, like his belief system. So what that means is that okay, let's say you're a totalitarian, you don't believe in God, you have no moral compass, you have nothing that you're aiming at. That means that whatever pops in your head is absolutely true. And that's a very dangerous concept because this is how the King Jong Uns are made. This is how Hitlers are made because that they believe that they know they're all knowing, right?
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
are God in their head. So the reason why the United States has been as strong as it's been and the best country in the world, I would say that it is, right? Because we've made the best movements in order for um I guess freedom and stuff like that, right? Is because we've been able to separate state and church. We know not to intertwine them. You know that, right? The state and the church are separated,
Yeah.
right? In the Bill of Rights. So a lot of other countries are not like that. We look at North Korea, or is it South Korea? What
Oh,
is it?
north.
Okay, so we look at North Korea. That is definitely not the case. Kim Jong Un is in full control. So state and church is not separated. It's actually whatever he wants to make it, right? And so that's just an example. But I believe that you do need to have a moral compass because you need to have a sense of direction. Somebody without direction is aimless, meaning that they're looking for everything or nothing.
Yeah.
And that alone builds so much anxiety. And there's a video that I had seen very recently. I couldn't tell you which one, but he was talking about he had gone to some colleges and this person, I think he's a psychologist. I couldn't tell you, but he went to colleges like in the 1980s and he asked people, um, who here wants to go to heaven? And like a bunch of people raised their hands, right? And he said that not too long ago he went to a college and he said, who here wants to go to heaven? And nobody raised their hands and they laughed. And so what he's saying is that people are losing that moral compass. People are they're becoming more totalitarian, where they believe on their own. They're so built up on logic and what we can see, rather than having a belief system far beyond of what we can even see.
You know what's something I've always been curious about with you
What?
is that you're someone that believes in science, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
do you believe in evolution?
yeah, I do. So here's the thing, and another a lot of Christians get wrong too, is that okay? So there's a lot of doctors that believe in God. I don't know if you knew that.
Doctors? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so there's doctors that believe in God, and you would look at them and be like, "What, really?" Because doctors are very scientific themselves, and the conclusion that they come up with is they believe science is God and God is science. And so what that means is that everything that has been brought up is solely from the purpose of God, because God has given us the tools and the knowledge in order to attain the things that we have today,
Yeah.
such as science, right? And so, um, yeah, I mean, I believe in evolution. Maybe not the way that some non-believers believe in it, but yeah, bro, like
Well,
we're evolving every day. What do you mean specifically on evolution?
like
Do you mean
just
Darwinism? What is it? Darwinism? Is that what you're talking about?
no. I was just curious because a lot of religious people don't believe in evolution. They just think that humans were like placed here by God, and we didn't come from apes, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
that's Darwinism. So Darwinism. Okay, so there was an interesting study that I checked out last week, and it's actually that we were originated from sea animals.
oh, really? Well,
Yeah,
I think that's the whole idea is that everything came from the sea.
everything came from the
It came
sea.
from like a bacteria to like a
Okay,
eventually
okay,
to
so
like a shrimp, you know, or
yeah, yeah,
a
okay,
plankton or something. I don't know.
okay, so that's scientific, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, so that's scientific. So in the Bible, in the first couple of pages of the the Bible says that the earth was nothing but sea. It was nothing but water, and then became man. That's what it says. So, and again, this is something that the Christians get wrong. It's like when they hear Big Bang Theory, it's like, no, like why that's not true. God made everything. But in theory, the way the Big Bang takes place scientifically is just the way it does in the Bible, except the only difference is that God did it by saying, "Let there be light," and scientifically, it just happened.
Yeah. So
They're
in,
identical.
so in science, it's just like, oh, it just happened. There's not really a reason. But in the Bible, it's like, oh, God caused the Big Bang type of thing.
God caused the Big Bang type of
Okay.
thing. So this is going back to my initial statement where scientists are like, science is God, God is science. Is that people are separating the two instead of looking at the Bible and looking at science and be like, oh well, they're actually
Very
they're
similar.
transparent. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that kind of explains what it is.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. So this is actually something I've never asked you before. You
Yeah,
as a believer, how are you sure that the information that's in the Bible is accurate or even credible at all? How do you just put your faith into a book, not knowing where that came from? For all you know, it's a fairy tale that's just blew up, right? That's
yeah,
that's
I
what I
love this
think all the
question.
time is like this book has been passed around for so long and there's no evidence, no credibility to it. It's just accepted as facts nowadays, you know,
Yeah, I love this
and
question.
people just follow it. What I want to know where your thoughts are on that.
Okay, so I love this question because so why would you believe Joe Rogan?
About what specifically?
Anything.
Why would I?
Yeah, or anybody that you gain the most knowledge from. 'Cause
Because
there's some people that you find in your head credible.
yeah, so the reason for Joe Rogan to me is credible is because he's someone that's not on a side at all. You know, like he's someone that is could sway either way and has changed his opinion about topics all the time. Like he's not someone that's stuck on a idea. He's someone that learns about it, makes a decision, and if it's wrong, he admits that it's wrong, you know?
For
So
sure.
to
Yeah.
me that's someone that I can trust, you know, that's going to tell me what they truly believe rather than someone who has an agenda, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. So my point is that if I don't believe in this, if I don't believe in the Bible, then who do I believe? Should I believe you? Should I believe Joe Rogan? Should I believe any human out there? Because I'll tell you what, this book, bro, the Bible has been around for over 2000 centuries. The same words, unchanged. It's been
Yeah.
translated, but has not been changed. And it's held true since the beginning of time. You can literally read through this Bible and it'll tell you stories and it'll be relevant today, the next century, the next century, the next century to come. So you're telling me that I shouldn't believe a book that's 2000 years old and still relevant, but I should believe someone who's been on this earth not even a fraction of that time?
Um no,
Because
it
because it hasn't been completely debunked. It's still around.
yeah, well that's my point is that there's no like facts behind it. Like, you know, there's no scientific anything behind it. And I'm a very scientific person. It's just a story is what it is, you know? Um so I don't know. I don't know if I want to base my whole life around a book that might not even be true, you know? But that's just
Yeah.
me.
No, I feel you, but it's like there's nothing else that's older than this.
Yeah.
It, the way we base the way we base things that are true, um, true solidly, like solidified truth, is if it passes the test of time. We do that with everything except for the Bible. It's like, okay, how do I know that Saul's a truthful person? Well, he has to be truthful for a long period of time so I can know that he's a truthful person. Or how do I know that Saul's a punctual person? Well, he has to be punctual pretty much every single day, if not most days, right? It's like we do that for everything on besides the Bible.
What do you mean? Like stories in the Bible are relevant or true, or what do you mean by that? Or that the fact that it's just around?
Well, one that it's around, but even if you were to read it yourself, you would be able to relate it to something in your life today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, but that's true about a lot of things. Like, I know so many people that read horoscopes that are like, "Oh my god, that's so you. You're such a Gemini," or "Oh my god, that's you." Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's very cookie cutter. I think I don't know if that's how the Bible is, but that's what I assume it would be like. You know?
Now the Bible's very complex. Like I think that if you started now reading it, I don't think that you would even have a I don't think you would be able to make sense of it till like at least maybe 5 to 10 years of actually like reading through it and trying to dissect it. But another thing that I also learned is that you have to, I mean, a lot of things are derived from the Bible. Like the horoscopes, if you were to some way, shape, or form try to like read the Bible with the mindset of the horoscope, you would find it in there. That I told you, I think I told you this on the phone where that the Bible is actually a library, it's not a book. Did I tell you about that?
I think so.
And that there's a concept that Jordan Peterson, who's a psychologist, brings up that everything, whether it be story, movies, life, anything, is derived from the Bible. It's actually the way that we lived. It's actually the way that we live. So if you were to pick any book out, any movie, anything, it's literally a a copy of the Bible. We
Yeah.
see this with good and evil. We see this with hero, villain. Like we see this in different ways, shapes, and forms.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So, why do you think people are so drawn to religion and the Bible so much? Do you think it's a sense of like community? Is it belonging? Is it wanting to do the right thing? Like, what do you think it is? Because me, I have no interest in it at all. Like, I'd be fine living my life without a religion, without um really believing one thing or the other. Like, I would be fine with that, you know? Why is it that
yeah,
some people like seek that out, go to different churches, try to find different viewpoints and communities on that? Like, why do you think that is? I think it's because people like to be part of a community, and people are scared that we're we're the highest thing up, you know? Which I don't think we are, but I think they're like they want so bad to believe that there's something up there greater. Do you think
yeah.
that's what it is?
Well, yeah. So I think that there's a lot of I think that people get into religion and Christianity for the very wrong reasons, is out of fear. So they're scared that okay, what's gonna happen after I die? And so they've been
Yeah.
told their whole life to follow a religion, which is actually the reason why you shouldn't go to religion and Christianity. But actually, even though some people do go to religion like that, hopefully, if they're smart and competent enough, they realize that going to religion and Christianity is actually a liberating thing. And you should go to it to feel free rather than out of fear, right? So there's definitely a lot of that, and definitely a lot of tradition, definitely a lot of things that people do just because they were told to do it. Like that's the sad truth. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It's like habit. It's things that were passed on to them. Um, but I also think that people are just lost, right? Like people just they want to cling on to something and they want to be sure of something that they're unsure of. When people are scared of not knowing something, it scares them into religion, it scares them into horoscopes, it scares them into something that helps them make sense of things. I think
Yeah.
that's I think that's what it is. And but I also think that religion and Christianity has been around, so many people go to it is because it's promising too. Like it's I don't think that it would be around. I know you don't, like you stated a little while ago that you don't believe this, but if it wasn't around long in, I mean, sorry, if so many people have gone to it for so long, well, then has to be something there.
Yeah, I guess, bro. I just don't understand. I don't know, man. I just never been a religious person at all. And I just kind of don't understand it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't, I mean, I get it, right? But I feel like everyone I meet that's super over the top religious is that way because not because they want to, because there's a another factor pushing them to be that over the top. Does that
Mm.
make sense? Like, I don't think
Oh
it's
yeah.
a genuine, like, for most people. I'm not saying everyone, but for most people I meet, it's like they're doing that out of guilt, out of fear, out of wanting to belong, out of something, you know? Because a lot of those people end up falling out of that type of religion, and they'll have
Mhm.
a fallout, basically. Just go crazy, they start I think religion is a very tricky thing. Especially the Catholic one, because that one's more relaxed, right? That one's more laid back than
No.
it's not.
No, Catholic's the strict one. Catholic's actually the one that has got the most heat because they so in if you look back in history, Catholic has had so many like priests. They call them priests, not pastors. They've had so many priests that have done such bad things. I'm talking about like have people murdered.
Oh
They've had
no, that's so. This is like a very disturbing fact. Is that I forgot? It's like a crazy percentage of priests that end up molesting children. It's
yeah.
like very like it's disturbingly common
Yeah.
in that community. Like, and that's insane, man, to think about. And it's
Yeah.
like these are the leaders that you're supposed to follow and trust. And
And and because it's like what I said in the beginning is that I believe that people need to have that individual relationship with God, not to religion. Because when you become a slave to religion, you become a slave to the people that are in control of the religion. So who's in control of the religion? People like priests, right? And so now they're put in this totalitarian position where they're like, oh, I'm all knowing, so I must, I must be better in some way, shape, or form than you, or than you, right? Whatever it is. And so they lose that moral compass, and that moral compass should be towards God.
yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, here's the thing about Christianity is that. So I don't think you know the story, right? Like, you don't know like the basis of like God and Jesus and everything like that.
No, I don't.
Okay, so God is the creator of all things, right? I think you know that. And Jesus, this is the Christianity belief. Jesus is his son. And so God created the earth, but God has made a promise to himself that he cannot touch the earth, that he left it for humanity and humanity alone. That's where free will comes in. That's where us being able to decide what we want to do, regardless of. See, people say, oh, it's God's plan, right? Like he orders my footsteps. Not really. He put us on this earth, but we really get to decide whatever we want to do, right?
Oh man,
Uh,
I hate when people like people use religion as a scapegoat, right? They'll do
yep,
something
yep,
bad or fucked up and be like, "Well, this is all part of God's plan," and I just like it happens, and you got to trust the process. It's like, no, dude, you're a piece
yep,
of shit. You did what you did. Own up to it. It's on no one but you. Don't be talking about, oh, God has a
yep.
plan. This is part of the plan. Like, no, own up to your own damn actions, and you can't use religion as a scapegoat.
Yeah, so that's exactly where I'm headed. So God gives us a flesh of himself, right? Which is Jesus. And Jesus comes to earth and he does, and he represents what you and I, what everybody on this earth should do. And because living on this earth is suffering, that's inevitable, guys. Everybody listen to this podcast. The moment that you are birthed, you're only promised one thing, and that is suffering.
And death.
Okay? Suffering sorry, death is the ultimate form of suffering. So if you look at suffering, death would be at the very top. I want to make that very clear because what I'm about to say
Oh, think about
explains.
this though. Think about this. A lot of
Uh,
people escape, think they escape their suffering by committing suicide, which is death.
mm.
So, what do you say to that when you're talking about the ultimate form of suffering?
Well, why would they want to take themselves out?
because they're
because they're
suffering,
because they're
right?
yeah, because they're suffering so much on this earth.
Yeah.
So you have to get to that point of suffering that they had to kill themselves.
Man, imagine being a like super like what was that? Do you know Avicii? You know who Avicii is?
Yeah,
He's a DJ. He killed himself a few years back, probably
yeah,
like 3 years ago.
it might be
Um,
more.
yeah, probably more. And I remember reading the post about his family, his kids, and how sad they were, and like how they didn't see it coming. Like he was super happy, didn't show any signs, and it's like, man, like you really don't know who's suffering. Um,
Yeah.
like for real, you really don't know. For all I know, you're fucking about to kill yourself when we shut this damn podcast off. You know,
Yo,
you
chill.
got the damn news set up already.
No mames.
But
No, but
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So what I was saying. So I'm leading to what you said is moral responsibility. Okay. So Jesus comes to earth, right? And he's like performing all these miracles, and he's proving that he's the Messiah, the savior of people, right? And so, but here's the thing that nobody knows but him is that he has to come on this earth and make the most ultimate sacrifice. And what is that? And that is to die. Okay. And so what he does is he helps all these people, the same people that turn on him and kill him. So not only does he form the most ultimate sacrifice of suffering, he suffers, bro. I'm talking about he goes 40 days fasting, 40 days no eating, 40 days no drinking. He's tempted by the devil. He's betrayed by his own people. He's spat on. He's had to put a crown of thorns on his head. They drag him up to like he has to walk all the way up with the cross where they eventually crucify him. They pin him down to this cross and they hang him up. And so you don't know what's gonna kill him first. You don't know if he's gonna bleed out. You don't know if the exposure to sun or just out of agony he's just gonna die. So just to give you an image, that's the worst way, the worst form of suffering is death. Now picture betrayal, your family betraying you, your loved ones betraying you, um, you being whipped by your own people, the crown of thorns, and then the then you being crucified. Right? That sounds horrible. But what ends up happening, the story says, is that he resurrects 3 days later. So he comes back from the dead, right? And some people think about that as like, like that's one of those things that people are like, that's that fairy tale stuff that we don't believe. But I like to look at this, and you know me, bro. Like I'm not someone who is easily convinced. And so
Yeah.
when I was a kid looking at the story, by the way, people that are listening, I went to church and religion and Christianity on my own terms. I was not forced. As I think at 13 years old, I started going to church on my own. I would walk to church, literally. Nobody, no family
Your
members,
fat ass.
no mamas. So, by the way, so I like to look at this figuratively speaking. That's the only way I can make sense of it, right? And so I look at Jesus and I'm like, okay, so he comes on earth and he endures the ultimate suffering, but out of it, he endures the most prosperous virtue. And so the most prosperous virtue is the forgiveness of everybody's sins, and he saves everybody's life. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of like what we all face every single day, right? In order to become a better version of ourselves, parts of us have to die off. So let's say I wanted to become a little bit more fit, right? Well, I'm gonna have to.
The gluttonous has to die.
Yes, yes, good point. There's a lot of suffering that's gonna have to be involved in that, right? So I'm gonna have to stay away from those foods that I love so much. I'm gonna have to go work out. I'm gonna feel uncomfortable while working out. Why? Because I'm out of my comfort zone, which uncomfortability is a form of suffering. But if I'm consistent enough in this suffering, in this willingly suffering, which Jesus did, he came willingly and he suffered, that prosperous virtue will come to life at the end of it. And what that prosperous virtue is, I'm fit. You know what I mean? But no, no, but really, really, you know, if I'm consistent enough in my willingness of suffering, the virtue will be prosperous at the very end. And you see that in everything in life. Let's say you want to be the best worker that you possibly want to be at your
Yeah.
company, and you put in extra hours, you're the best worker, this you do this, you do that. All that takes some type of suffering and commitment. But out of it, you gain what what you wanted, that
Yeah,
prosperous
and so
virtue.
that's literally the formula to success. What you just
That's
explained.
literally exactly. And so people should look at this and adopt that Christianity is not a damn crush. It's not something where you should use that as an escape goes like, oh, it's God's plan and um Jesus died for my sins, so everything I'm forgiven for everything that I do. It's like, no, bro. What it actually means is that you should stop trying to escape moral responsibility. You should own up to your own damn mistakes and grow the hell up,
Yeah.
because that is the only way that you're going to be a better version of you.
Yeah. Man, well, I'm sorry I couldn't offer much more insight on this religion thing. I mean, he's more knowledgeable on that than me. He used to be a youth leader, right?
Yeah.
For a church. So, yeah, this guy's all about religion.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, I don't think that I'm like, I, I don't think that I fully figured it out. I don't want to make it seem like I have. I'm in like deep study right now. I'm reading a lot. I'm learning a lot. I have several mentors that that are teaching me right now. I don't think that I'll have a very great understanding until I'm in my maybe late 30s. So that I'm speaking out of humility here. That what I know now, I know for sure I'll know way more in the future.
Yeah. All
But
right. Well, so let's get into the last topic, which is the would you rather. And feel free to go ahead and answer that in the comments as well. We want to know exactly what you guys said. We're gonna run through these real quick, because we're about 50 minutes in. So the first one is, wait, which one was it? Okay, yeah. So would you rather be a genius and know everything, or be amazing at an activity you tried?
mm, a genius at
At any
everything.
yeah, or be amazing at any activity you tried.
Mm.
I'd
Because
rather be
I,
amazing at any activity, hands down.
wait, any activity you
Yeah,
tried?
any activity you try, or just be a genius and know everything.
Mm.
Any activity, hands down, bro. Hands down.
I think so. I don't know because see, I'm more
You know
ex-
what, I picked that because I'm not
what?
a natural at anything. Everything that I've ever had to, no, I'm being dead ass, dude. Like, anything that I've ever picked up and tried to do, I had to work my ass off to get decent at, because I pick things up quick, but I'm not necessarily great at them. So the fact that if I could be amazing at any activity, I would, ooh, easy, bro. Like, I would challenge you to anything and I'll beat your ass in it, you know? Like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's me all day.
You see, being a genius at everything, right? Is that what you said?
Um, Genius and know everything.
See, if I was a genius and know everything, that sounds way better for me. Like personally, right? But it's like, what do you do with all that knowledge?
Yeah, man.
It's
And
like,
you're gonna come
eh,
across as a fucking dickhead too, you
well,
know?
not really that, but it's like I would think that you would drive yourself insane, also knowing so
Yeah,
much.
and what if you know shit that like is depressing? That's true, you know? I'm sure there's a bunch of dark truths out there that that geniuses know, you know? Like, I'm sure Elon can't sleep over some shit, you know, like AI or something that we don't think about. All right.
I think I would still choose genius though.
Nah, fuck no. All right, well then, go ahead and answer that one for us, guys. The next one is, would you rather go into the past and meet your ancestors, or go into the future and meet your great grandchildren? What?
Damn.
What do you pick?
Future. Future, because if I can also see what's gonna happen in the future, I could probably come back with some great info and do the next trending thing and if I can figure out what's going on in the future, sheesh.
Fucking selfish piece of shit. It's about me. It's
What?
about meeting the people, and you're making it about shit. When I come back, I'm gonna invent
Freak
some
the
shit.
freak the people.
Nah. I think I'll go with grandchildren as well in the future, just to see, like where they live, how they look, all that.
Yeah, I
All right,
guess.
and then the last one is: would you rather experience the world beginning or ending?
Nah, beginning.
Beginning, yeah, fuck, because ending's gotta be catastrophic, bro. Like, imagine you like teleport to the ending and you're like, you see a meteor coming at you. It's either that or you're like in the middle of nowhere and you see like the Big Bang happen and it's
You're
forming,
naked and
Yeah, like hands down, like that's asking, would you rather die or begin?
live.
Yeah, like yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's all of them. It's out. This podcast is 51 minutes. But yeah, fucking thank you guys again for all the support. I really appreciate you guys. I know AWA appreciates you guys with that
Of course.
Spanglish shirt.
Yes, sir.
Do you still have some of those tumblers and stuff?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want some of those, hit him up. His link and information is down in the description. And again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment the would you rather's, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys very much. Bye.
Peace.